Hello students, in our last video we have started lesson number 12, the Renaissance. Renaissance means the spirit to know more of the world and its wonders. So today we will continue with this chapter, and our today's first topic is impact on literature, means impact of Renaissance on literature. So let us start. The Renaissance in Europe ushered in a new era in literature. An outstanding impact of the intellectual revival was the use of native languages for literary writings. So this means in Europe, particular in literature, this Renaissance show new things, and the outstanding impact of this Renaissance was of intellectual revival, means intellectual was already there, very intellectual persons were there, they wrote many books. So this was the thing when that intellectual come back again, and the people with intellectual, they started use of native languages for their literary writings. And for centuries scholars had been using Latin, which only a few educated people could understand. So earlier mainly Latin language was in use to write down the literary work, but that Latin was not a common language, only few educated people were able to understand. But now the writers, they started to use native languages that can understood by many, and modern European languages replaced Latin as the language of poetry, drama and fiction. So now they started to use this in poetry, in drama and other writings of fiction. And thus the Renaissance led to the development of vernacular languages in Europe. So first change that was there, that was the use of vernacular languages, and due to this those vernacular languages were developed in Europe. So now we are going to start with the writers, thinkers. So first is Machiavelli. Machiavelli from Florence. So he was from Florence, was a historian. So he was a historian, those who write down history, and who is known as the father of modern political philosophy. Question could be there, who is known as the father of modern political philosophy? That is Machiavelli. In his work, The Prince, he dealt with political conditions that prevailed in the Italian states during the close of the 15th and early 16th century. So here name of book is written, The Prince. So in this book, he wrote down about the political conditions of Italian states during the time period of 15th century and in the beginning of 16th century, and his ideas and suggestions had a profound influence on the minds of political leaders and rulers in those days in Europe. So the ideologies or the ideas that he wrote down in his books, that changed the mindset of the rulers, means that influenced them. And he suggested that political matters should be separated from religion. So according to him, political means to run the administration of a country must be different from a religion. It means these two aspects are different, so must be separated. So this is first writer, Machiavelli. Second is Bacon. Francis Bacon was a great English scholar. His essays contain much of wisdom. In his Latin works, Novum Organum and New Atlantis, he talked of applying scientific methods and doing everything in a scientific way. So Bacon's ideology was, or in his books we can say his ideology is related to scientific methods, mean the modern thinking with the modern technology. Next one is Shakespeare. Shakespeare, the famous English poet and dramatist of 16th century, through his outstanding contribution, had elevated English literature to world status. It means that English literature was now famous in the entire world. We can say due to Shakespeare or due to his contribution. And he was the greatest poet and playwright England had ever produced. So he was very famous poet and playwright in England. He wrote 38 plays, more than 150 sonnets, and many poems. His historical drama included Richard II, Henry V, and Henry VI. He also wrote tragedies such as Hamlet and Macbeth. Sometime name of his books, name of his dramas could be there in your paper. So just very serious with this. The next one is Martin Luther. So Martin Luther, he was a Protestant reformer. So mainly he was a reformer. So the Protestant reformer Martin Luther translated Bible into German, which ushered in a new era in religious history. So his main contribution is in religious history. He was a reformer. He was actually a social reformer, those who reformed in society's religious matters. And he was also a person who translated Bible into German. Thus, Renaissance brought in its train a new life to literary pursuits. The scholars, through their work, gave a new expression to thoughts and aspirations of the European people. So it means this Renaissance put a great impact on literature. Now, next topic is impact on art. Besides a rebirth of learning, the Renaissance also resulted in a revival of art. The medieval artist was a slave to tradition. Slave to traditions means they were doing the same things that were going on before to them. Means they just using to draw things related to religion only, related to gods only. And the medieval artists, those who were the slaves to traditions, he painted or carved with the object of teaching religion. The Renaissance was a revolt against the bondage of medieval traditions. Now beauty became the predominant motive. So earlier, what was the dominating motive or force? That was religion only. But now, with this Renaissance, there was a revolt against that type of medieval traditions. Now, the predominant motive was beauty. Means now the artist started to express the beauty. And the study of anatomy, means biology, says Davis, became necessary for a painter. So it was necessary for a painter to study biology. Even the scene of the church reflected a sense of optimism and grace. Even means the paintings, those time they used to paint down in church, even those paintings were reflected the scenes of optimism and grace. Means beauty were included in those type of pictures or paintings. So let us start with the main topic, that is painting. The city of Florence, that is in Italy, produced in the second half of the 15th century very great artists and painters. First, Leonardo da Vinci, a very great painter and sculptor. Leonardo was also a great musician. It means he was a painter as well as he was a musician and also a scientist. And his painting, The Last Supper and Mona Lisa, are the great masterpieces of European art. So these two were his great masterpiece in art. New techniques were adopted in his painting to give a fine feeling of reality. So, in his painting, reality was shown. His painting, Mona Lisa, is a perfect depiction of beauty and harmony. In fact, it is more beautiful than any creation of nature. There is a mild smile on the face and with eyes, half closed and half revealing, as if she has something to say. The total effect is such as any heart could desire. It means what they want to show us that painters started to express beauty in their paintings, the beauty of life, the beauty of peace, the beauty of nature. So, second one is Michelangelo. He was a painter of the first rank and also an outstanding sculptor. The ceiling, for instance, in the Sistine Chapel in the Papal Palace of the Vatican was his masterpiece. So, the ceilings of this building that was painted by him, that is a masterpiece. His painting was based on biblical themes and the ground fresco of the Last Judgment. It considered to be the most famous painting in the world. Another painter, Raphael. Raphael was a great artist of the Florentine school, and his most celebrated painting was Sistine Madonna, known for its unsurpassing beauty. With the revival of interest in old Greek and Roman mythology, later artists started painting on the themes from Christian literature in Greco-Roman style. So here this changed the style from Christian literature. They started to Greco-Roman style. Even even secular themes were depicted. But whatever subjects that they had taken, the portrayal was real and humanistic. It means the main theme was real, means based on reality and based on humanistic values. And so what we got from all these things, that with this renaissance there was a great change in art, painting. So these painters, they started to change the motives, the ideologies, the themes of their painting. Now they started to include beauty, peace and nature, earlier that were dominated by the religion only. So next is sculptures. The famous sculptor in Italy was Lorenzo Ghiberti. He worked for 20 years to make two pairs of bronze doors for the baptistry at Florence. So this was his masterpiece. So to make two pair of bronze doors, he took 20 years, and that is a masterpiece. And the design and the workmanship was so exquisite that it made Michelangelo exclaim that what it is, that they are worthy of being placed at the entrance of paradise. It means like a heaven, they are the entrance or the entry gate. Michelangelo made a statue in Rome called Pieta, showing Mary in a sitting posture carrying the body of Jesus across her knees. It was the finest piece of sculpture evoking deep emotion that made the artist world famous. Then is the architecture. The Renaissance architects rejected the Gothic style and accepted the Greco-Roman classical architecture. Some of the outstanding features of architecture were an imposing dome, round arches and tall columns, St. Peter's Church in Rome, which can hold 80,000 people, is the finest example of Renaissance architecture. Its grand dome, which was designed by Michelangelo, rises to a height of more than 400 feet above the ground level. So it means architecture was also affected with this Renaissance. So they started to change the style of architect which were earlier prevailing. Now next is Renaissance and science. So the effect of Renaissance on science also there. So men of science and medicine made useful contributions to scientific discoveries. First of all, Copernicus. The first important breakthrough in the knowledge of modern sciences was in astronomy. So in astronomy, first of all, modern sciences were involved if when we are talking about the Renaissance. So due to Renaissance, and for centuries it was believed that the earth is in the center of the universe and the sun and stars went round the earth. Means from centuries people just have a faith, or they were believing that earth is in the center of our universe. It means earth is not revolving, it is in the center, and other objects like sun and stars, they are revolving around the earth. But this theory was refuted by Copernicus, a Polish priest. So who was Copernicus? He was a Polish priest. So he was not agreed with this theory, and he told the reality, and he studied the celestial bodies and proved that theory of the rotation of the earth on its axis and its motion around the sun. So now he declared, or he just tried to prove and express that earth is not in the center of universe, and it is revolving around the sun and rotating on its axis, and it means sun is in the center. And his theory aroused great controversy as it was considered an attack on the authority of the holy scriptures, because earlier in the holy books it was written that earth is in the center and the sun and other objects are revolving or rotating. So because this theory given by Copernicus was totally opposite to that, so it was really a great controversy. It was not accepted by the religious heads. Then is the Galileo, Italian astronomer Galileo. So who was Galileo? He was an Italian astronomer and used a telescope. So he used a telescope, and the greatest scientific instrument of the period. So that time telescope was greatest scientific instrument to study the movement of heavenly bodies for the first time. So in our history, this was the first time when one person or astronomer used a telescope to study the heavenly objects. And he confirmed the validity of Copernicus' theory. Galileo was tried by the church. Here he proved that what Copernicus was saying, it was right. But as Copernicus was not accepted by the religious authority, same was here with Galileo. So he means Galileo. So he tried by the church for challenging its belief and authority, and his book was burnt. 3 years later, Giordano Bruno was burnt in Rome by the church for insisting that the earth goes round the sun. So earlier his book was burned, then he was also punishment was also given to him. So death punishment was given to him. He was burnt in Rome by the church authorities because he was saying the things that was reality, but it was against the religious writings and books. Next one is the Isaac Newton. So Isaac Newton, that is an English scientist of the 17th century, proved that all the heavenly bodies moved according to the law of gravitation. So he gave theory of gravitational force. He enriched the field of mathematics with his scientific contributions. So his contributions was in the field of science and mathematics, and his greatest um, theory given by him, a gravitational force. And the medical sciences, significant discoveries were made in the field of medical sciences also. Vesalius wrote a treatise on the structure of the body. William Harvey, an English physician, discovered the circulation of blood from the heart to all parts of the body and back to the heart. So the system was given or explained by him, and this knowledge enabled the scientists to correct many wrong notions of the past and to approach the subject of physical ailments and human health in a new spirit. So with his theories, uh, it was easy for the persons, those who were involved in medical sciences, to catch the problem and to reach what main problem is there in the body when they got the exact process of circulation of blood and other body functions. So it was really a great achievement due to this renaissance. So these scientific discoveries and inventions encouraged rulers also, nobles also, and other wealthy men also towards the advance the cause of science. It means now people, those who were rulers, nobles, and wealthy persons, now they started to move away the old thinkings that were in their minds just due to the religion, simply we can say. Now they started to think scientifically, logically. As a result of the tremendous growth in science during the 17th century, an encyclopedia of scientific knowledge came to be published. So this was the first encyclopedia that was published in 17th century. Now the effects or consequences of Renaissance. First effect is the Renaissance led to the Reformation movement. So Reformation movement started just because of this Renaissance. One of the far-reaching effect of the Renaissance was the urge to know the unknown by questioning, observation, and experimentation. So this was the first time, and just because of this Renaissance, Reformation was started. Now people started to think logically, they started to ask questions, and they started to believe only on the basis of experimentations. Means if reality is there, then only they will believe. It brought an end to the supremacy and the domination of the church, which eventually led to the Reformation. So just because of Renaissance, the domination of the church came to an end, and that was the beginning of a Reformation. Second, great outflow of vernacular literature. So as we just read out, and Renaissance helped in the growth of vernaculars when scholars started to write down in different languages, and the language of Europe saw much progress. In England, there was the famous Shakespeare, and a contemporary of Shakespeare in Spain was Cervantes, who wrote Don Quixote. In France, Molière became the founder of Comédie Française, the national theatre. The national theatre. So this was change or progress in the vernacular literature just because of this Renaissance. Then the effects of geographical explorations on trade and commerce. Scientific inventions led people to explore distant lands, so far away the land portions. Now they started to explore with the help of scientific inventions. As a result of geographical discoveries, commercial relations were established between Europe and the East. Trade brought unprecedented prosperity to the countries of Europe. It means trade was now developed, and far away the areas were attached with this type of trade relations, and just because of the scientific inventions or discoveries. Fourth is the growth in economy led to colonialism. So this was actually the negative impact of that. Growth Growth in European economy led to colonialism. European countries controlled America, Asia, and Africa and used their resources to increase their own power. So, because they were the developed countries, so they started to make other areas as their colonies. And the fifth one is the humanistic values. Another great change that come with the Renaissance was its stress on humanism. So this was really positive thing that people started to think about humanism, or humanistic values were developed. Earlier people subordinated to themselves to the interest of church only, or the class to which they belonged. So only they were thinking about their own class or whatever the interest of church was there. But now they began to look at themselves as individuals. So now they were not only a part of their class, they were individual also. So they started to think themselves as individuals. It means they are having their own identity, they can have their own ideology. The Renaissance art and literature reflected aspirations of the ordinary people. So everything, whether art is there, literature is there, or any other thing, that reflected aspirations of the ordinary people, not particular church, not a particular religious authority, or not any one other person. This was for each and everyone. Now each and everyone was individual only. They started to think independently, and humanistic values were developed. So this was, or we can say, just due to Renaissance, there was a great change towards the humanism. So with this, our chapter is over. If any doubt is there, you can message me. Till the time, watch this video, try to get the topics. Thank you.